Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are descending 4,000 meters beneath the surface of the Pacific Ocean to discuss a discovery that has fundamentally broken our understanding of biology, geology, and the history of our planet. Until July 2024, there was a rule in science that was considered absolute. That rule was that the oxygen we breathe, the oxygen that sustains the blue whale and the human being alike, is the product of photosynthesis. We believed that every molecule of oxygen in the deep sea was a loan from the sun, produced by plants and algae on the surface, and slowly carried down by cold ocean currents over hundreds of years. We believed that the bottom of the ocean was a place of consumption, where life merely scavenged for survival in the dark. We were wrong. A team of scientists led by Professor Andrew Sweetman has proved that the ocean floor is not dead rock. It is an electric power plant. They have discovered that the abyssal plains are paved with natural batteries that are splitting water molecules and generating oxygen in complete darkness. This phenomenon is called dark oxygen. To understand the magnitude of this, we have to go back to 2013. Andrew Sweetman was aboard a research vessel in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, a massive stretch of the Pacific Ocean between Hawaii and Mexico. His team was there to measure how deep-sea organisms breathe. The standard procedure for this kind of science is to use a benthic lander. This is a large tripod frame that sinks to the bottom and drives cylindrical chambers into the mud. These chambers isolate a small patch of the seafloor and the water directly above it. Sensors inside then track the oxygen levels over 24 to 48 hours. In every experiment prior to this, the graph would always go down. Animals, like worms, bacteria, and crustaceans consume oxygen, they breathe it in, and the levels drop. But in 2013, Sweetman saw something impossible. The oxygen levels in his chambers didn't go down, they went up. The sensors were indicating that something inside that dark, sealed chamber was creating oxygen. At the time, Sweetman assumed his equipment was broken. He told his students to pack the sensors up and ship them back to the manufacturer because the data made no sense. Photosynthesis requires light, and there is no light at 4,000 meters. Therefore, oxygen production should be impossible. For 10 years, this data was treated as an anomaly or an error. It wasn't until 2024 that the team went back with a new hypothesis. They decided to stop treating the rising oxygen as a mistake and started looking for a geological cause. The Clarion-Clipperton Zone is famous for one thing. It is covered in polymetallic nodules. These are black, potato-sized rocks that sit on the sediment. They are incredibly rich in metals like manganese, nickel, and cobalt. The team hypothesized that these rocks might be electrochemical. To test this, they performed experiments on the ship, where they took the nodules and sediment, put them in seawater, and added mercury chloride. Mercury chloride is a poison. It kills all biological activity. If the oxygen was coming from a strange bacteria, the poison would stop it. But the oxygen levels kept rising. The rocks were producing the gas. This confirmed that the process was abiotic. It was not life, it was electricity. The team brought in an electrochemist named Franz Geiger from Northwestern University to measure the electrical potential of these rocks. He found that a single nodule could generate a voltage of up to 0.95 volts. For context, to split a water molecule into hydrogen and oxygen through electrolysis, you need about 1.5 volts. While a single rock doesn't reach that threshold, these nodules lay on the seafloor in the trillions, often touching each other. The scientists realized that the nodules are acting like batteries connected in a series, just like batteries in a flashlight. When clustered together, their combined voltage exceeds the 1.5 volt threshold, and they begin to crack the seawater apart. They are natural geobatteries. Let us look deeper into the science of these rocks. Polymetallic nodules are not volcanic. They form through an excruciatingly slow process of accretion. A nodule starts with a nucleus, which could be a shark tooth, a fragment of a shell, or a piece of basalt. Over millions of years, metals dissolved in the seawater precipitate onto this nucleus. They grow at a rate of only a few millimeters every million years. A nodule the size of a potato might be 10 million years old. Structurally, they are built like onions, with concentric layers of different minerals. The key players here are minerals called vernadite, bernicite, and todoricite. These layers have different electrical properties. Some are rich in manganese oxides, others in iron hydroxides. This creates a difference in electrical potential between the layers. When you submerge this layered structure in salt water, which is a highly conductive electrolyte, electrons begin to flow. On the surface of the nodule, a reaction occurs where two water molecules are split. This releases 4 electrons, 4 protons, and 1 molecule of diatomic oxygen. The discovery that the seafloor is effectively a planetary-scale electric grid implies that the deep ocean ecosystem is vastly different than we imagined. We used to think the animals down there were living in a desert, waiting for food to fall from above. Now we know they are living in an electric oasis. The biodiversity in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone is staggering. Surveys have found over 5,000 species, and 90% of them are new to science. We are talking about creatures like the gum squirrel, which is a bizarre violet sea cucumber with a large tail that acts like a sail. There is the Casper octopus, a ghostly translucent creature that lays its eggs specifically on the stalks of sponges that grow on the nodules. Then there are the xenophyophores. These are single-celled organisms that can grow to the size of a dinner plate. They build delicate shells out of sediment. Scientists have often found them in high concentrations near the nodules. Before, we thought they just needed a hard place to sit. Now, we have to wonder if they are congregating around the nodules to bathe in the excess oxygen. They might be feeding off the energy gradient itself. This discovery fundamentally rewrites our understanding of the carrying capacity of the deep ocean. If there is a local oxygen source, the ecosystem can support a much higher biomass than our models predicted based on currents alone. But the implications go even further back in time. This discovery challenges the standard model of the origins of life. We are taught that life began in anoxic conditions, and that aerobic or oxygen-breathing life only evolved after cyanobacteria started pumping oxygen into the atmosphere during the Great Oxidation Event about 2.5 billion years ago. But if geobatteries can produce oxygen without light, then pockets of oxygenated water could have existed on the primordial Earth long before photosynthesis. Professor Sweetman has suggested that aerobic life might have actually started in the deep dark ocean, clinging to these charged rocks. It reverses the arrow of evolution. Life didn't terraform the planet to create oxygen. The planet provided oxygen batteries, and life adapted to use them. This also changes how we look at the universe. We are currently searching for life on the ocean worlds of our solar system, specifically Jupiter's moon Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus. Both of these moons have liquid saltwater oceans beneath kilometers of ice. Sunlight cannot reach those oceans. Astrobiologists assumed that any life there would have to be very simple and slow, because they wouldn't have access to high-energy oxygen. But if polymetallic nodules exist on the floor of Europa's ocean, they could be generating dark oxygen. Oxygen is a high-energy fuel. It supports complex metabolism. If Enceladus has geobatteries, it doesn't just have the potential for bacteria. It has the potential for fish, or squid, or things we cannot yet imagine. The habitable zone of the universe just got significantly larger. However, back here on Earth, this discovery has crashed violently into the human economy. The very rocks that are producing this oxygen are the target of the deep-sea mining industry. The reason is ironic. The nodules are packed with the exact metals we need to build batteries for electric vehicles. They contain nickel, cobalt, copper, and manganese. The narrative of the mining industry, led by corporations like the Metals Company, has been that deep-sea mining is the lesser of two evils. They argue that terrestrial mining involves deforestation and child labor, while vacuuming up rocks from the seafloor is cleaner. The CEO of the Metals Company, Barren, has famously referred to these nodules as batteries in a rock. He meant it metaphorically, referring to the metals inside. He did not know that they were literally batteries. This creates a massive conflict. We are in a race to transition to green energy to save the climate. But to build the batteries for that transition, we might be about to destroy the batteries that breathe life into the deep ocean. If we harvest these nodules, we are not just removing a rock. We are removing the oxygen source for an entire ecosystem. Furthermore, the sediment plumes from mining robots could bury the adjacent nodules, insulating them from the seawater and shutting off the electrolysis. We could effectively suffocate the deep sea. The mining industry has pushed back hard against Sweetman's findings. The Metals Company released a statement calling the research flawed. Their main argument is a technical one. They claim that the sensors on the benthic landers might be trapping air bubbles from the surface. They argue that as the lander descends and pressure increases, these bubbles are forced into the water, creating a false signal of rising oxygen. They point out that the voltage measured on the rocks is not high enough to split water consistently, unless the conditions are perfect. They are framing this as an experimental error, not a planetary phenomenon. This scientific debate is now the center of a geopolitical war. The International Seabed Authority, based in Jamaica, is currently writing the rulebook that will allow commercial mining to begin. But this discovery has triggered the precautionary principle. Over 30 countries, including the UK, France, and Canada, have called for a moratorium or a pause on deep-sea mining. The argument is simple. If we didn't know the seafloor produced oxygen until July 2024, what else don't we know? We are preparing to bulldoze an ecosystem that we clearly do not understand. Andrew Sweetman is planning to return to the Pacific in 2025 with new sensors designed to rule out the bubble hypothesis once and for all. The mining companies are also launching their own expeditions to try and debunk the findings. We are watching the scientific method play out in real time, with billions of dollars and the health of the ocean at stake. The discovery of dark oxygen is a humbling reminder of our ignorance. We have mapped the surface of Mars better than our own ocean floor. We looked at the abyss and saw a graveyard. only to find out it was a power plant. As the ships gather above the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, humanity has a choice to make. The nodules have been down there for 10 million years, silently cracking water molecules and keeping the deep sea alive. Whether they continue to do so, or whether they end up in the chassis of an electric car, is the decision that will define the next century of environmental history. Thank you for listening to Fun Facts Online.